Alright, what's up mountain bikers? Dr. Matt here from MTB PhD here to talk to you about what is faster. So when you're going downhill, should you sprint or should you flow? We're humans and we have a limited amount of energy that we can use before we start getting a bit sloppy on our bikes and start making mistakes. And this is one of the things that I found in one of my first research studies, and that's when the brake power meter was born. So obviously today we're going to give you some video with some braking overlay. And here's just a screen grab from one of my practice runs. In the bottom left you can see the brake power. That's going to be a rolling graph so you can see what's coming up. That scrub rate, that's another important one. The most important thing to know with that is that when it's red you're about to come to a stop. So if it's red for 1 full second, you'd be coming to a stop. Drag time, that's really important. That's how long we've been using our brakes, and that's super accurate down to the 100th of a second. And then we have flow score, and that incorporates scrub rate and drag time, and that's our most important measure. We want flow score to be as low as possible throughout the whole run. It's important to note that these measures are the most accurate measures we could possibly have when we're talking about braking and mountain biking. So you can watch these as we go through this little experiment. And I have a split screen here with the sprinting run on the top and the flowing run on the bottom. So I originally went into this and I had 2 practice runs, and then I went and I did these 2 race runs. You can see right away that in the sprinting run, I'm out of the saddle. I'm not showing you my power output, but you can see when I'm pedaling. In the flowing run, I'm still pedaling, I'm just not sprinting as hard. So I'm doing quick pedal strokes, and then I'm pumping the rest of the way. You can see there that in the sprinting run, I just had a random bit of braking, whereas in the flowing run, I didn't have to brake. These turns are pretty tricky. You're coming into them with a lot of speed, but actually at the same time they're really slick. So we have a lot of clay here in New Zealand, and when it's covered in the shade, it just doesn't dry. But this is one of my favorite tracks. It's pretty natural. The hills are really steep, so they're bench cuts, so they're not fully just a bushwhack trail. They're really benched in there. They drain pretty well. You can see in the sprinting run I'm actually a few seconds ahead of my flowing run, and you kind of expect that looking at the profile of the track. It's a little bit more flat, it's not as steep. And here we come to the split for the advanced track. So here it gets a little bit more technical. It's really rutted down at the bottom, and it's definitely really fast. In the sprinting run in the top, I'm just getting into the really, really rutted section, and you can see I'm heavy on the brakes. It's really fast. So there's some big ruts there, another really big rut. And then I get into this super straight, pretty steep section. One of the things that you can notice is that in the sprinting run, my brake power is much higher, and that's because I'm coming into these braking sections with a lot more speed. So that's why the scrub rate, that's really important too, because we can compare the different runs, and it doesn't matter how fast we came into that section. We want to know how efficient we were at using our brakes, and that scrub rate's really good. One of the things that you can notice is if you look at the drag time, in my sprinting run, I've actually spent a lot more time braking. But anytime that we're braking, we're spending more time going slow. And anytime we're slowing ourselves down, we actually have less traction, so we increase the likelihood of crashing. So here I come into the finish, and I felt like I was on a burner for that sprinting run, but actually it wasn't that much faster. What I did do is I got a lot more tired, and had this run been much longer, I'm a bit worried that actually flowing would have been probably the best strategy. So obviously without the data from the brake power meter, I wouldn't know what was going on. In both runs I had the same flow score, but I had much higher drag time with the sprinting run. And that's because what I did when I was sprinting is I spent a lot more time braking really, really lightly. But what we want to be doing to go really fast is to brake really, really hard for a really short amount of time, keep that drag time low, keep that flow score low, and that's when we're going to get our best and fastest runs. So of course, as always, thank you so much for the support, everyone. It really means a lot to me. There's a lot of time and money that goes into this project, but it's really something I'm passionate about, and I can't wait until you're all riding the brake power meter.